So thanks for coming. This is Laughter for the Health of It. If you don't know me, my name is Dave Berman, and this is a class basically about laughter yoga. Anybody here ever participate in laughter yoga? Anybody else hear about it but not participated in it yet? Okay, cool. So we're going to have fun. We're going to be like children and play in here today, but so feel free to take off your shoes if you want. I made this space this way because we're going to move around a bit. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about what it is and why it's here at this conference. So let me begin with a little bit on the history of laughter yoga. It started in the mid-90s in India. A medical doctor, Madame Kataria, kind of wanted to test the premise, laughter is the best medicine. So he got together with some people in a park, and they just started telling jokes, and they laughed and they felt good, and they did this every day for a week, and at that point, the jokes started getting raunchy, and it wasn't really fun anymore, and people stopped coming, and he's like, no, give me one more day. I'm going to figure this out. We're going to make this work. And so he did a little research, and this is not how other laughter leaders present this part of the story. This is why this is at this conference. This is the hypnotist version of this story. He discovered what we know, why hypnosis works. The body can't tell the difference between what's imagined and real, what's simulated, right? So he comes back and he says, we don't need jokes. We can just laugh for no reason. The brain will still produce endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. What do these things do for us? These are the happy hormones, right? So we know there are health benefits. We know that these elevate our mood, they improve our circulation, they boost our immune system, they increase our threshold for tolerating pain. I've heard Melissa Tears and David Snyder throughout this weekend talk about the importance of laughter. The dopamine helps us learn. So there's a lot of health benefits from those happy hormones. We also find that there's a reduction in cortisol levels. What does that mean? Stress goes down, yes. So this is a fantastic thing for us to be doing with our clients. Teaching them to laugh, right? Laugh at anything. Laugh for no reason. That's what laughter yoga is about. So from 1995 to now, there's popped up over 6,000 laughter clubs in over 70 countries. This is a global phenomenon. You can find a laughter class near you, and if not, you can start one. there's not that much involved. So, what was that?
I said that's no joke.
That's no joke. Yeah. So we get together at these laughter clubs, and we will often basically start out like if it's me, I'm the group leader. I'll welcome people to come, and I'll often tell this little story or an abbreviated version of it. I'll mention what the health benefits are. I'll say, there's really only 2 rules for laughter group. One is that you should never strain. This is for people of all ages and all fitness levels. If you're not able to run around the room, you're welcome to stay seated. There are laughter groups that meet in senior centers where it's all seated by design. The exercises are not as rigorous as what we might do here. And we're not talking about like working out. We're talking about being childlike and playful today. So we just made this arrangement of the chairs so that we'll have space for that in a little bit. I want to devote probably about half our time to that, and I want to first just set this up, creating context for why this is useful for hypnotists to know about, and how you can bring it into the context of working with clients. So, no strain, modify anything we do to meet the needs of your body. That's one of the 2 rules. The other rule is that we never laugh at each other. We're here to laugh with each other. So when we start laughter group, those are the only 2 rules. And then we might start with some stretches, very light, but we'll get to that. We'll do like an abbreviated laughter class, a laughter group, once we talk a little bit more about how this fits working with clients. So how many people here, when working with clients, teach them breathing techniques. Yeah, breathing, it's essential, right? So we'll do some actual laughter things as examples before we get to the laughter group portion of the class. So what's it like? And one of the things that you'll find through this class is I'm going to model for you many different kinds of laughter. And you're capable of doing every single one of them and more. We're not going to be able to do all of the infinite ways that there are to laugh, but join me. What's it like when Santa Claus laughs? So, how much do you feel yourself breathing when you're doing that, right? I mean, that's a hearty exhalation, right? That's not the same kind of mindful breathing that we often are teaching clients, but you're making them aware of their breath, and you're certainly doing a pattern interrupt just by asking them to do this, right? So another one that's very much about the breath, I believe comes from a more traditional yoga, and I should say laughter yoga it's just a name. The laughter groups and the classes that are held, they're not about the traditional postures and poses. It's just laughter, right? We don't have to have reasons for it. That's the connection to hypnosis that I am offering. So one of the other exercises is called the wood chopper. You can do this seated, or if you feel like standing up, go ahead and stand up. But basically, you're like this. Okay. And then it's ha, 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 ha. Okay, again. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. One more time. Ha, ha, ha. All right. In the tradition of laughter yoga, after we conclude an exercise, we clap with our hands together and we say, very good, yay! And the yay part is with the exuberance of a child getting their first puppy or waking up on Christmas morning. Very good, yay! Excellent. Yeah, we're going to be silly. So leave your inhibitions, under your chair or take them out in the hallway. So, breathe. We teach our clients to breathe. These are alternate ways that I'm guessing you guys have not taught your clients to breathe in the past. Am I right? Okay. So, how many people employ pattern interrupts? Okay. So, those are sometimes subtle and sometimes not. I mean, sometimes you're trying to be mindful of keeping rapport while still breaking someone's pattern. And I remember Scott Sandlin teaching at HPTI about sometimes you build rapport so that you can spend it. Sometimes you want to intentionally break rapport, right? So you see me laugh, you can imitate my laugh. So one of the other kinds of laughter is the trying to hold it in laugh. Right? And yeah, I mean, sometimes our clients tell us stuff we want to just laugh in their face, and we can't. Right? We might feel like we want to hold it in. And not every exercise that we do here is something that you're going to be able to use with clients, okay? I recognize this, especially when we're running around the room. I want to illustrate the vast and diverse array of types of laughter that there are and help you get past any inhibitions that you may have about your own ability to laugh for no reason, right? So the holding it in laugh can be an example, even if you're not doing it outwardly, but literally needing to hold it in so as not to break rapport. Another one, one of the submodalities that we sometimes play with would be the speed of our speech, right? Sometimes we ask a client to articulate their internal auditory and speak very slowly. Right? Well, how about laughter in slow motion? Give it a try. That's a nice. Very good, very good, yay! Now, I'd like to offer you all a suggestion. You can feel free to take this or leave it, but I have long had an anchor on this fingertip for laughter. As we go through this class, at any time that you notice yourself feeling good, especially when you get that slightly painful feeling in your cheeks when you've been laughing too long, anchor it. Trust me, anchor it. Okay? You'll thank me later. So, one of the other things that's interesting about laughter classes is that we don't talk other than the introduction, which I just gave, even though we're not kind of getting into the laughter class part of this workshop yet. Once the class gets going past the little history lesson and the two rules, the class leader may say a couple of things here and there about, okay, so for this next exercise, this is how it works. But by and large, we're not getting to know each other in laughter class. We're just laughing, with one exception. The international language of laughter is Zizi, It's gibberish. We speak in gibberish in some of the games that we play in laughter class. So, what would it be like? Just imagine if you were needing to interrupt a pattern with a client. And try it. Turn to your partner and turn to your neighbor and say something. And just let whatever come out.
Sounds like Klingon.
You gotta let it come through. I mean, it's not something you need to think about. It certainly would interrupt a pattern, yes? So, just a thought, you know. I'm trying to make this contextually relevant for this conference. I do this stuff. You know, I teach my clients to laugh because, well, a lot of reasons. One of the things that's happened for me personally, as I've...
You do the gibberish with your clients?
Sometimes, yeah. One of the things that I've noticed personally as a regular participant in laughter yoga, and I see this and I encourage my clients to notice this, is that when things go haywire in life, it's so much easier to laugh at myself or laugh at circumstance. There was one time about 2 years ago, I was walking down, I had just come out of my apartment complex and I was walking to a friend's house, so I was not very far from my house, and maybe this made it a little bit easier to have this response, but I'm walking down the street and I feel this thud against my leg. This was the response, by the way. I went cataleptic because the context for the sensation felt like getting pegged with a snowball. I grew up in New York, so I had some context for that, but this was in Northern California, in a place where there's no snow. And so, after being frozen for a few seconds, I reached down to touch my leg where I'd been hit, and I just started laughing Because what else could I do? And I noticed that my hand was gooey, and then I'd been hit with an egg thrown from a plastic bottle. Yeah, and I just couldn't stop laughing that I'd been hit with an egg, this just totally random event, and that I instantly had processed what my reaction was. That I thought it was a snowball because that was my frame of reference, and that this was like a transderivational surge that had sent me cataleptic. And I turned around and I walked like the 200 yards back home just laughing my head off, and I walk into my apartment and my roommate's sitting there saying, "Thought you were going to a party." "Yeah, I gotta change my pants, I got hit with an egg." How many of you would have that same reaction? How many of you could laugh at being assaulted by a drive-by egg thrower? Come on.
I would love to have that reaction.
After, maybe, right?
After, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How many of you could imagine a client maybe, like being really upset about that, like not having the processing skills to, laugh off an assault, basically, right? So I feel very fortunate. I feel like part of my growth as a human being includes the fact that I have that ability, and I attribute it to my regular practice of laughter. Right? So I love that story, and I think there's absolutely a hypnosis connection, because I know I went cataleptic. I froze there for a couple of seconds. Kind of amazing. So another connection between laughter yoga and hypnosis. One of the happy hormones that I cited for you that the brain produces when we laugh, so it's the endorphins, the dopamine, the serotonin, and oxytocin. So what do we know about oxytocin?
It's a bonding.
The bonding hormone, that's right. So it's produced during lovemaking, hugging, breastfeeding, and laughter, right? And so what I found from several years of doing laughter yoga with people who I don't get to know because we only talk in gibberish is that we become friends in this really unique way. Interruptions are hilarious. So, when I was living in Northern California, I was in a small college town, and so people would move away frequently, and we'd find ourselves missing somebody who had been a regular in our class and then wasn't there anymore. We had bonded with that person, even though we didn't get to know them through our class. In the traditional way of, oh, I know where that person's from, and what their major is at school, or what they do for a living. No, we spend this time laughing with people, and it creates this bond. How useful would it be for you and your client to be laughing together? How helpful would bonding be in that sense with your client? Question, comment?
You actually had a question about the gibberish.
Yeah.
When you do that with a client for pattern interrupt, do you explain what you're doing afterwards, or do they ever think, dude, you're a jerk?
No, I do explain. I teach my clients about laughter yoga. I mean,
Okay.
it depends on the flow. It may not be all right at once, but I had flyers for laughter yoga, and I would give it to everybody. Come to laughter class.
Well, and like you mentioned, that Scott Sandlin said, you build rapport so you can spend some.
Yeah. Well, and because the reason I ask that is my clients all know that I'm fluent in sarcasm. And they know that I will use sarcasm in sessions just to emphasize a point. And I tell them up front, I don't mean that disrespectfully to you at all. And they'll say something, and that helps you out. And to some people that would be like, what a jerk, but my clients don't take it that way because I explain it to them.
Sure. So you're kind of like preemptively preserving the rapport.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I may not. It depends. I may have clued them in that way before the gibberish, but yeah. Another question? No?
I wonder what's the reasoning? It seems to be like you're avoiding certain types of relationships. What's the reasoning behind the gibberish? And Why is it so bad for people to actually get to know each other on a personal level?
I don't think it is bad. I mean, I have made real friends who I met at laughter yoga class and then started hanging out with outside. There's no dual relationship concern about laughter yoga, classmates. You can actually become friends with your laughter yoga classmates. I'm not avoiding it. Why is gibberish the international language of laughter? I don't know the why. It was like that before I got into it.
Yeah.
There's other exercises. We'll do at least one in the play part of this class with the gibberish. I just brought it up as an example of a way that you can tie it into your client work to create a pattern interrupt. Right? So with the idea of bonding, how many people are familiar with Robert Cialdini's book called Influence, Social Persuasion, right? So yeah, if you've gone to HPTI, of course. So, and Kevin, I saw you raise your hand. So one of the 6 principles of social influence, a way to get somebody to follow your lead, for example, we pace and lead, right, in hypnosis. A way to get somebody to do what you want is to get them to like you, or to help illustrate for them how you are like each other, similar to each other. So this bonding through the creation of oxytocin, right, produced through laughter, is also a means to becoming more influential with your clients. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Any questions about that? So, let's just play some games now. That's the stuff. The rest is just for fun now. And we'll save some time at the end, and we'll debrief a little bit. So we'll come back to this, and we'll talk a little bit more. So Mike, you're going to be keeping an eye on the time? Okay. Great. So let's just do, how are we doing on time right now? How much time is left?
It's
25 minutes.
you got 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes. Okay. So so we're gonna do about maybe 18 to 20 minutes of laughter now. Reinforce your anchor. If you choose this or make it any other kind of physical anchor you want. This is what I do. But give yourself an anchor, reinforce it as you play this, and definitely make sure I know when there's 5 minutes. I know you guys have the signs. So if your body is up for it, I invite you all to stand up, and let's bring the circle in. If you feel like sitting through this, you certainly can. And so we'll do this like we would a traditional laughter yoga class. So, my name's Dave. Thanks for coming to laughter yoga today. We're going to start out by going around the circle. Everybody.
1 second.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
get going again.
All right, so we're going to go around the circle, and we're each going to say our name, and then we'll all laugh like it's the funniest thing we've ever heard. Okay? So, I'm Dave!
I'm Gar!
I'm Bruce!
I'm Steve.
I'm Pierre!
I'm Mike.
I'm Molly. I'm Jane.
I'm Kevin!
I'm Monica.
I'm Danny.
I'm Jackie.
I've heard several people talking about mirror neurons throughout this weekend, so there's another way that certainly this is connected to our neurology and why it's relevant in our... All right. So,
Mirror neurons.
yeah, here for mirror neurons. Okay, so that clapping, we clap this way because just the acupressure points and the meridians. Very good, very good, yay! There's also a chant that we do, and we'll get to it in a couple of minutes. We'll do it a couple of times, so when you hear me doing it, just follow along. You'll get it in no time, but I'm not going to tell you when we're going to get to it. So just to give you the feel for the flow of a regular laughter yoga class, we're going to do just a little bit of sort of the warm-up exercise, but I'll keep it really brief. So what we will often do is just tap and laugh and like stimulate the cells in our body. Feel them as if they're tickling each other. Just tap all over your body. Start with a greeting. So, Gar, would you please help me demonstrate? This is a double handshake greeting. So let's just mill about and greet everybody. Other examples of those greetings, that's just the one I chose for today, but we typically include a greeting like that. So since we're in Vegas and it's super hot, we've got to do a classic laughter yoga exercise that will cool us down. This is called the sprinkler. I will demonstrate one time and then I'll ask you all to follow, okay? So like on your lawn, it would be like and then you do it the other way. Then you do both arms. And then you take the nozzle off and you spray your friends. modulate the flow and the pace of how we do laughter yoga. And I just wrote down a ton of exercises. I don't know what we're definitely not going to get to all of these, but one of the other things that we like to do is laugh in as many different ways as we can. I mean, we all have our own sort of natural instinctive laugh, but you know, just like we were able to imitate Santa Claus before, what's it like just to imitate a lion? This is the customary.
That's an evil clown.
You do it your own way. It's usually the tongue hanging out. E So, again, in the spirit of like, how many different ways can you laugh? There's a very old traditional one. It's called naughty naughty. So, like this. They wiggle their ears. And how about laughter of appreciation? This is probably going to be our last one, I think. We're getting short on time, and then there's a closing meditation. So in gradient, it's kind of a follow the leader thing. So what I'm going to do is pick some kind of gesture that's going to indicate more or less, louder or softer laughter, and I'll make whatever kind of laugh comes out of me, and everyone will imitate, and then you will go with some indication of some kind for more or less, louder or less. So it could be a dial, it could be like a meter, it could be like a switch, it could be, this could be anything. And you indicate and control, modulating, calibrating the laughter for everybody, and we just imitate. So actually, I don't know if we're going to have enough time for everybody to go, but I'm just going to use a laughter dial instead of a pain dial. So. By movement. It's got to be more or less by movement. You got to indicate the more or less.
Damn, screw it.
That's okay. So it could be like how high and how low your foot is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good. There's an infinite number of games, and I would love to have more time to play these with you. But there's a closing process.
Is there a resource that we can find?
Yeah, I was gonna do that in the debrief. But for the closing, what we typically do is we lay on the ground. Actually, what we typically do is we sit in a circle first. We bring the circle in as close as we can. You're welcome to use the chair, but we just laugh. We use the mirror neurons and the eye contact to just laugh. And we'll do this for a minute or so, and then we'll turn around, we'll lay on our backs with our heads in the middle, and we'll continue to laugh. And then I'll kind of indicate when it should, sort of mellow out. And there'll be just a brief meditation, because I'm not sure what time. So. Just use the eye contact. Don't make me come over there.
No laughing.
Okay, please settle. Please settle. Gradually bring the hum level down. And allow silence to come upon you. That's right. Taking a moment to notice all those places in your body. You feel wonderful now. Allowing your body to integrate all the health benefits of vigorous laughter. Noticing all those places in your body that are receiving those happy hormones. All the places in your body that are getting more relaxed now. The mission of laughter yoga is world peace through laughter. So one of the other.
I agree, by the way. I'm not laughing with this one. I'm not laughing.
There's no stigma to laughter. It's wonderful. It's very common to find it difficult to stop. Allow yourself to think of a person or a place or a thing somewhere outside this room, outside this city, even anywhere in the universe that could use some upliftment, some of the energy that we've generated in this room today. And just direct some of the energy that's emanating from you now, from the benefits of this laughter, to that person, place, or thing where it's needed. And just help fulfill that mission of peace through laughter. And I invite you to repeat after me each of our 3 laffirmations. We are happy people in the world.
We are happy people in the world.
We are healthy people in the world.
We are healthy people in the world.
And we love to laugh.
We love to laugh.
Take your time getting up. we are apparently out of time.
Has anybody ever got thrown out for
Yeah, I said, guilty. So, thank you all for sharing this experience. I wish we had more time. I did want to spend a little bit of time debriefing. If you want to chat in the hall outside, I would love to hear insights about your physical experience with this. I'd love to hear your insights tying this back to your practice of hypnosis. For more information about this, laughteryoga.org is like the international website. On that site is a laughter group finder, so you can search out the laughter group that's nearest you. There's also laughteryogausa.com, which is laughter on the phone. You can find this through the other side. If you just write down one URL, it's laughteryoga.org. So there's people who conduct laughter groups like this on the phone, like multiple times every day. And there's also a Skype group that meets several times every day. People all around the world getting together just to laugh because it feels good.
And
And it's healthy for us.
Is that the closing gong?
Yeah. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.